Hi, I'm Eileen with Stained Glass Stories. There are so many incredible shoegaze albums from nations all around the world. Each of them brings their own culture and sound with them. In our last nation-specific video, we talked about the shoegaze scene in Japan. Today, we're going to the other side of the planet, this time to Brazil. These Sunny Days by Devilish released in 2015. Upon hearing the opener Face Without Eyes, you're immediately encapsulated by this lush wall of sound. Lead singer Michelle Modesto's vocals are soaked in reverb and are somewhat comparable to Elizabeth Fraser. She's probably only present on about 3 or 4 of the songs, with the rest being instrumentals. For example, the titular track is this super atmospheric and fast-paced shoegaze track. These vibrant guitar flourishes and glitchy ambiances create a hazy euphoria. Throughout the album, these synths add to the disorienting sound. Overall, I love the dense and hazy sounds throughout this album, and I recommend it to anybody who may enjoy a shoegaze record with a glitchy wall of sound. The next album we're going to discuss is Vida, segue by Now El Futebol Moderno. It is a record that derives its particular charm from its rather lo-fi production style, which almost makes it sound like it was recorded underwater. With its distant-sounding vocals and washed-out reverb-heavy melodies, it instantly teleports you back to the early 90s and immerses you in the feeling of sitting outside a party venue, staring at the starry sky after a long night while already feeling a bit sleepy. What also makes this record stand out are the occasional nods to psychedelic and progressive rock, most notable on tracks like Generio or Quintal, which add some extra sprinkles of dreaminess to the listening experience. I particularly enjoyed the use of slide guitar on the second track, Cansado de trampar. That being said, I'd recommend this album not only to fans of shoegaze, but to those who like neo-psychedelia or lo-fi indie music in general. Next, we'll be talking about O que existe dentro de mí by Adorável Clichê. This rather unknown album is truly a hidden gem, with its catchy bass lines and dreamy chords followed by abrasive walls of noise. It feels like a breath of fresh air. Adorável Clichê are fusing elements of indie and alternative rock with shoegaze and modern dream pop here. I loved how this record manages to maintain a certain ease throughout its playtime, while still getting quite heavy. The best example of this might be demonstrated on the second track, Falsa, Valsa, which, with the album title translating to What Exists Inside of Me, the lyrics on O que existe dentro de mí are centered around coming-of-age topics like internal struggles and difficult relationships. Yet, I found its overall atmosphere to be more hopeful than melancholic. The next album we want to discuss is Hypnagogia by sonhos, tomam, conta, a one-woman project from Sao Paulo. With her unique approach to heavy shoegaze, she gained international recognition in the past few years, making sonhos, tomam, conta one of the most well-known shoegaze projects from Brazil. Hypnagogia describes the state of consciousness where you are right on the verge of falling asleep, slowly drifting away into a dream world. That translates perfectly to the blissful ambience paired with elements of emo and black gaze that this album is. Reading through its Bandcamp notes shows that we're talking about a personal project here, revolving around a long struggle with mental illness, thoughts of suicide, and finding meaning in an otherwise meaningless life through music. I have to say this really hits close to home. Like the title, Lonely People in Neon City suggests, Hypnagogia feels like a lonely night drive through the ghostly cyberpunk town, not really sure of where you're going or if you're even going to arrive somewhere. To all of you who feel the same, I hope this album helps to get through at least one more day, she writes on her Bandcamp, and I wish that to all of you. This next album was released in January of this year, and it is the self-titled debut of A terra vai se tornar planeta inabitável. The album is a noisy, nihilistic project that translates in English to "The Earth will become an uninhabitable planet." While mainly carrying a noisy, melancholic sound, the group experiments with various sounds and instrumentations. For instance, Transparecer initially starts with an acoustic number, which explodes into a dizzying and droning sound. Celos Fantasmas Me Asombran pairs the jazzy drum beat with this sinister shredding guitar. Perhaps the highlight of this album, though, is the final track, which spans about 15 minutes. It's closer to about 4 or 5 tracks in one, taking all sorts of unusual twists and turns. Throughout the track, we hear a multitude of different moods and textures, along with a spoken word section, sax solo, and a sound collage. I'd recommend this album to fans of Have a Nice Life or anyone who enjoys that kind of gloomy, existential sound. Terraplana's new album, released in March of this year, might be the most recent one on this list. Upon getting into olhar para trás, you're instantly met with an MBV-esque distorted guitar on the title track with its outstandingly beautiful male and female vocal harmonies. Along with its rich, fuzzy sound walls, Terraplana continues to tick all the boxes you would expect from a classic shoegaze record. The biggest highlight, though, might be the very post-rock reminiscent interlude, sonho, fim, followed by the last 2 tracks that could really work as a blueprint for shoegaze and could easily be recommended to anyone who wants to be introduced to the genre. With its relatively short playtime of less than 30 minutes, it's super easy to get into. While some people might argue they are playing it a bit too safe with this record, it is so delicately crafted, managing to sound both modern and utterly nostalgic at the same time. It definitely deserves a spot on this list. The last album I wanted to mention is sort of an honorable mention. While probably more of a slacker rock album than shoegaze, it is a fantastic project that deserves more attention. The album is called Íngreme by Oruã, and it was released in 2021. Throughout the record, we hear this otherworldly lo-fi sound. It's difficult to pinpoint their sound, maybe a bit like Pavement on LSD, except with far more androgynous vocals. Oruã is this trippy, bass-heavy experimental track, and it's one of my favorites on the album. Esencia Bruta slips into krautrock territory with its hypnotic avant-garde guitar noise. Later on in the album, Caballo Branco is this sinister track with this textured jazzy sax solo. Overall, Íngreme is a spacey experimental record that's quite a psychedelic trip. We hope you will enjoy some of the albums we mentioned in this video. Let us know in the comments your favorite Brazilian shoegaze albums. To support this channel, please consider subscribing and supporting us on Patreon. Thank you everyone for watching the video. Stay dreamy.